and welcome to another episode of the Winnipeg Business Podcast, where I bring in Winnipeg's finest businesses to share who they are, what they do, what makes them unique, and what you should look for when dealing with somebody within their industry. So without further ado, let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Winnipeg Business Podcast. With me today is Dr. Richard Ledda. He will be here as our expert in the chiropractic care industry. So without further ado, Dr. Ledda, if you can introduce yourself.
Well, James, thanks for having me. I'm honored, and it's a pleasure to be here to hopefully share with you and your audience what it is I do, and maybe we can inspire a few people to take the initiative to do whatever they want, especially in these transitioning times. Honestly, this is my 5th year in practice. I'm a chiropractor here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I practice at Norwood Chiropractic Center. I don't know if I could consider myself an expert just yet, but after learning much of what I did through school. When it comes to like anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, even like some toxicology. I just learned how the body started to work. And that's really my passion is how does the body work? How do we optimize it? And how do we create an environment for it to be the healthiest that it can be? So that's my job as a chiropractor. Obviously, a lot of people know that, chiropractic care entails around the adjustment, which is, physically moving around the spine so that you get rid of any sort of interference or stressors that occur on the spine and the intertwining nervous system. So, that's my job as a chiropractor. I'm learning more and more while being in the field, despite all of the information I got through school. There's so much more to learn. And I'm sure you know that just being a business owner, but there's a lot to learn. I'm humbled. I'll still forever remain a student as long as I'm in this profession. So thanks for allowing me to be here. But yeah, that's me maybe in a little bit of a nutshell and where I am in the field of chiropractic.
So I know your age, but I would love for you to share to the viewers your age. If you can just tell them how young you really are.
I'm 30. I turned 30 this year. I think you're a year older than me, right, James?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here at the Winnipeg Business Podcast, we actually went over your bio that you sent earlier this week, and you have an amazing story that I would love for you to share to the viewers prior to us getting to question number 3. So if you don't mind, just share us the story of what put you on this chiropractic care path in life.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for letting me share that. When I was younger, I was not a healthy kid. I was considered overweight, almost obese for my age when I was, if I can recall back, at least probably when I was 8-9 years old, I was very overweight, not healthy. I suffered from chronic asthma as a kid. I had to take 2 inhalers every single day and had that blue puffer as well. You couldn't ask me to exercise or do a lap around the gym without having to stop. As a kid, I would start to develop like things like neck pain, upper back pain, low back pain, just because of all of the technology I would use, whether that was the computer or not Xbox at the time, but like, Nintendos and Sega Dreamcasts, right? That was me as a kid. That was my upbringing, and nothing against my parents, but they just wanted they wanted me to have the opportunity to just be a kid. And that's what all the kids were doing back in the day. And that's what I did. Growing up, I was not very healthy. So you can imagine this plump little boy. If you need a picture, feel free to ask. Overarching tummy, going beyond my belt, where it was, you couldn't even see my feet if you're looking from my point of view, looking down. That's how big my stomach was as a kid. And again, I was not very healthy. And, going through those stages of my life, I was made fun of, I was teased, not only just by like kids at school, but even my family, and my cousins and stuff. And they're just being kids. I love them, right? They were just teasing me for being a big guy. And to me, that was a bit traumatic. But out of that was a bit of an uprising, because I was building this up where it was like I wanted to prove to them something. And I didn't know what that was yet. And I didn't know it was going to be about my health. So by the time I was like 15 or 16, I had a massive tragedy in my life, which occurred. And that was my dad suffered from a heart attack. So I used to work at Wendy's on St. James, right across Polo Park if you're in Winnipeg. And I think a lot of you know where that is. And I used to work there every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We would go on break at 10 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. Right before the store opened. Now, on one of those breaks on a Saturday morning, my manager calls me back while I'm on my break. She calls me to the back and lets me know that I have a phone call. And I say, okay, well, who is it? She says, it's your brother. So I walk back to the office and I answer the phone. I say, hello. And my brother's on the phone, my oldest brother. And he says, Rich, get ready because Auntie Lucy, is picking you up. I say, why? He said, Rich, get ready. Tita Lucy's picking you up because Dad just had a heart attack. So I dropped everything, took a breath, and I looked around. I can still remember smelling the potatoes being baked, all of the salads being prepped, and I stopped everything. I said I had to go. My dad just had a heart attack, and I said that to my manager. And so I waited outside. My aunt picked me up, and she picked up my mom, who actually works down the street near the Red River X at a nursing home. My aunt picked her up first. They picked me up next, and then we went straight to Health Sciences Center. And when we got to the emergency room, we got dropped off right away so we can go in and try to see him. And someone, I don't know if it was a receptionist or a nurse, they saw us and they asked us if we can use their help. And we're saying, we're looking for our dad. He just suffered from a heart attack. And they were like, what's his name? His name's Teddy. And she actually brought us not directly to the room where he was being held, but she took us into the family room. In the background, you can kind of just hear this faint crying getting louder and louder and louder. And as we get close to the door and she opened the door, it was actually my sister straight ahead of us saying that he's gone. That was the exact day I lost my dad as well, which was to a massive heart attack. The medical system did what they can. The doctors did what they can. The paramedics did what they can. It was too late. From that day on, I told myself I was going to avoid that situation from happening to myself. But something bigger arose for me is that I would never want my worst enemy to experience the pain that I did that very same day. And so I ventured on this quest to become a healthier version of myself first, so that I can do that for everybody else and show them the way. And so I went from this super unhealthy, obese kid to being who I am today, my healthiest version of myself now. But, I'm healthier than I was back when I was like 10 years old. And so, I embarked on this mission to want to save lives. I considered medicine. Through school, I actually changed from engineering to wanted to become a medical doctor. So my route went towards, taking the anatomy, physiology, chemistry, biology, physics, all those things that were needed for med school, or pharmacy. That was another option, because all I thought was that medicine saved lives. And they do in times of need. If you suffer from a heart attack, don't come to me, go to the hospital, because they're going to potentially try to save your life. Arguably, even the paramedics are going to try to do that too. Now, I started seeing a chiropractor when I was about 17 or 18. I forget the exact age. And he started talking about how the body can heal in a different way that I heard it. And, simply put, if you cut your arm, what happens to your arm?
It's gone.
Well, let's just say like it's a gash or like a small paper cut. Mm-hmm. It heals, right? If you break a bone, in the Philippines, they might tie your arm with a twig and wrap it so that it heals. Here in the modern world,
of a splint, yeah.
Right? They might splint you, they might cast you so that it heals. It's not the cast doing the healing. The cast is just holding it in place, but the body's doing the healing. And so that concept really resonated with me. And so a lot of things, it challenged my paradigm of what really was and what healthcare was. And he simply put it in me. He's like, if your body has the ability to do that, why doesn't your body have this ability to overcome migraines or neck pain or low back pain, sciatic pain? It's not always going to be the medication that is going to cure you per se, like a Tylenol or an aspirin. Those things are simply, they might be anti-inflammatory, which might help with the pain. They might be a painkiller. That was getting more so to the symptom of it. So I said, and he said to me first, well, how do you get to the cause of it? What's causing that thing in the first place? What's causing your low back pain? What's causing your migraine? And let's get to the cause of that. Because if you're continuously scratching yourself on your arm, causing the bleeding, until you stop the cause of it, it's not going to fully heal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. So that's where
problem, as opposed to just Band-Aid on top. Yeah.
Exactly. And so a lot of what I understood chiropractic care to be was getting to the root cause of the problem, specifically when it came to neuromusculoskeletal conditions or issues. Arguably, in our profession, there's different schools of thought, but primarily, it always comes back to this concept that the body has the ability to heal itself as long as you do the right things for it. Now, it doesn't happen all the time because there's obviously there's unique situations, but for the most part, if someone comes in with, again, low back pain or a headache, there's usually something causing that. And that's the role of a chiropractor, is to find out what's the cause of the issue. We're not treating the neck pain, but we're more so restoring and optimizing the body's well-being so that you can actually heal and thrive to the best of your ability.
Nice. Thank you for that.
I think I went beyond my my story, but that's why I'm here today.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that information, because there are some people who just think chiropractors is all just crack back and get out of there, when there's really so much more to it. And thank you for sharing from your perspective, which, wow, that was that was very insightful. Thank you so much. Okay, so now on to question number 3. What makes you or your business unique in your field?
Great question, James. And it goes back to what I just said. It's getting to the root cause of those things, of those issues. Again, people really think of chiropractic, going to the chiropractor, they're pushing on your back, you get some pops and you're out. And that should heal your back pain. It's not designed to particularly just focus on treating back pain. It actually wasn't originally designed for that. It was designed to restore and optimize the body's well-being so that it can adapt to everyday stresses in life, right? So that might be a little bit more vague, or it might be out there for some people because they can't understand that. And so that's where I have these discussions with you to be like, okay, well, if I talk to you, James, and we talked about the spine and just really narrowing it down to that, your spine ideally should have a certain position. And the way that I look at it is that your spine should look straight from the front and back. And then from the side, if you look at it from the side, you should have 3 curves in your spine. So one in your neck, one in your upper back, one in your low back. Now, if your spine deviates from normal or ideal, the way that I look at it, then that can irritate and stress out those areas of the spine, but also the nervous system. And really the nervous system is what chiropractors are really, from my perspective, really focused on. Because if your nervous system or the nerves coming out of your spine have some sort of irritation, that's when you can start to get dysfunction. With dysfunction over time, you get certain conditions. And so it might be neck pain, tingling down the arms and into the hands. You might get a headache. You might get sciatic pain. It might be a muscle spasm. It might be tightness on one side. So all those imbalances and deviations from normal can lead to certain conditions. And again, my emphasis is that my job is not always to get to treating the pain or the symptom, but it's getting to the cause of those symptoms. And if I can get you back to a state of balance and optimizing your ability to move and function, then your body will not only feel good, but it'll heal better and it'll function better.
Nice. You know what? That was awesome that you just educated me on that right now, because when I used to receive chiropractic care, they never did educate me on the whole, bringing you back to homeostasis so that your body can heal itself. They basically just said, you need chiropractic care. And I was like, why? But they never really educated me. And I think that is what makes you guys really unique. And I loved hearing your input on that, because, well, it's just mind blowing that I was like, see, I didn't know that. And I'm sure a lot of people out there don't know that. They just, like you said too, they just think that they go in, get their back popped, and then they're out of there. But wow, you know what? I'm going to have to share this a little earlier than expected.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right. So question number 4, what are some things that people should be looking for when choosing a chiropractor to work with?
Yeah, again, great question. Honestly, it's like any service-based industry, James. For the first and foremost, have a consultation with one and see if that person resonates with you. If they've connected with you at some level where you felt that you were heard, you felt like they provide you enough knowledge and enough information for you to consent to their care. Really, that's the biggest thing. I don't know if there's things to be, from my perspective, out of respect for everybody, or even any industry. I would say, you do your due diligence as a person, and when it comes to any service-based industry, try to see if there's some sort of connection with that person. Now, for me, I can say that I do an examination on all of my patients and practice members before any sort of treatment or care is done. So before you get adjusted, James, I'm doing an assessment. And the reason why I do that is because I want to see what state your body is in. And so we might do certain scans. We'll look at posture, balance, range of motion. I might have to take x-rays depending on your history, if you've had a history of trauma, if there's an indication of fracture, osteoporosis, all those things come into play. And a lot of the exam it's a window into not only your spine, but your well-being and your health. For me, I would always want, if I was going to a dentist, I would want them to do some sort of examination first before caring for me. That's just me. But overall, find someone that you jive with and someone that you connect with personally, because it is a service-based industry, and there's something to that. When you're finding any sort of healthcare provider, can be an accountant, could be a lawyer. You want to, at some level, want to jive with them personally too. So that's what I would say. I need to find where the areas are perhaps not moving well, where you're imbalanced. If you've had any history of, again, fractures or osteoporosis, if there's areas of the spine that I shouldn't be necessarily adjusting because of the history, those are things that you should be careful of, and that's what I do with my care. Now, again, the guy down the street might do something very different than me. I'm not knocking that person. I'm not, because they might have a different technique. They might do a different examination and assessment prior to their adjustments and their care. So it's hard to say. I don't know what all the techniques are in chiropractic. This is just what I do, and so I would say, generally, find someone that you jive with on a personal level.
All right. So thank you, Dr. Ledda, for being an interviewee today on the Winnipeg Business Podcast. So how can the viewers reach out to you if they had any questions, comments, or just wanted to reach out and talk?
Well, thank you again, James. If people want to reach out to me, you can head over to the Instagram, and reach me at, my tag is at Dr. Ledda, at DRLEDDA. You can find me on Facebook as well. I have a Facebook page. And if you want to reach out to my office and come in for a consultation, I welcome that. The phone number is 204-231-5666. And really, if you want to reach out that way, you can. But honestly, if you want to reach out to me personally, at Dr. Ledda on Instagram or even on Facebook will be suffice. So I'm a millennial. I use Instagram probably more than Facebook now. So that would probably be your number one bet.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show today. So everyone else, till next time, go with the pros. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Winnipeg Business Podcast. If you know anyone you think would make a perfect guest for the show, please send them to thewinnipegbusnesspodcast.com. Have them fill out the form, and someone from our team will get back to them ASAP. Till next time.